Hey, what's up YouTube? In this video, I'm going to share with you how I paid off over $127,000 in credit card debt. I'm going to share with you 4 of the most common ways that people can get out of debt. I'm going to share with you a bonus tip, and then I'm going to share with you the exact way that I chose to pay off all that debt. Now, I haven't paid a dime to any credit cards in over 10 years, and I can tell you it's marvelous. It's totally worth it. So make sure you watch to the end so you can see how I did it. My name is Paris Clough, and this is Financial Self-Reliance. On this channel, we talk about the mindsets and the skill sets of the wealthy, and we teach you how to manage, protect, and grow your assets. If that sounds like the kind of community you'd like to be a part of, go ahead and click like and subscribe so that you don't miss any of the videos that I produce. So the first 2 methods of paying off debt are really common, and you've probably seen them everywhere on YouTube. The first one is the debt snowball. The debt snowball is when you take the account with the least amount of debt and you pay that off first, and then the next debt with the next highest amount of debt and you pay that off second, and then you roll each of the payments from the one debt to the next debt to the next debt until you've paid off all of your debts. The next method is another very common method, which is called the debt avalanche. The debt avalanche is when you take the highest interest rate card or the highest interest rate loan and you pay that one off first, regardless of the balance that it has. Now that one's probably gonna save you the most money over the long term, but one of the key things about the debt snowball is that when you pay off a smaller amount of debt fast, it gives you incentive and motivation to keep going. When you're trudging away at a high interest rate loan and it's a high balance and you haven't paid anything off, or you see that thing whittle away so slowly, it's hard to get motivated to keep doing it. So that's why I recommend at first, to get some momentum and get some excitement, do this debt snowball, and then start maybe, once some of those smaller debts are paid off, then maybe work towards doing the debt avalanche. Before I go on to the next 2, I'd like to just stop and consider for a moment, who in the world named these debt programs? Debt snowball, debt avalanche? I mean, why not debt earthquake, or debt tornado, or debt tidal wave? I mean, who came up with these names in the first place? I mean, really. Now, I recently heard about a method of paying off your debt called the cash flow index. Now, this is something that I really thought about and I kind of used in my own practice with my clients, but I never really knew an official formula until I read Garrett Gunderson's book, Budgeting Sucks. In the cash flow index method, you take the loan amount, the total that you owe, and divide that by the minimum monthly payment. The lower the result, the faster you want to pay that off. The higher the result, put that at the end of the line of debts you want to pay off. I'm going to share with you in a minute a spreadsheet where you can see how the cash flow index can actually be a really powerful way to pay off your debts more efficiently. The 4th way I want to share with you about how to get out of debt on this video is called debt negotiation. Debt negotiation is where you negotiate with your creditor to pay off a balance that you owe for a lesser amount of money. For example, let's say you owe $10,000 and you negotiate with that creditor to only pay them $5,000. By doing that, they will either cancel the other $5,000 or they'll write it off. That way the debt goes away and you only had to pay $5,000 for it. Debt negotiation has a lot of pros. You can get out of debt really quickly by doing that. Debt negotiation also has some cons, because in the process of negotiating your debt, you're gonna actually have a really strong hit to your credit score, and it will lower very quickly. It's definitely better than bankruptcy, and in my opinion, it's better than debt consolidation loans. So debt negotiation is something that you can get in, get it done quick, and then after that's done, you can rebuild your credit score really fast because you're free from all that debt. It's kind of like getting rid of a bunch of baggage, and then you can move much faster now that you don't have all that weight weighing you down. So I highly recommend debt negotiation if the other methods aren't working fast enough, or you just feel like you're not getting ahead at all by using those other methods. All right, now let me give you a bonus tip to help you accelerate some of these methods to get out of debt even faster. Before I share with you this tip, go ahead and click the like and subscribe button if you're getting value out of this video so far. In fact, the like button will only allow me to share this tip if it's been clicked. So make sure it turns from gray to blue so that the tip can be revealed. Are you ready? All right, I'm gonna trust you did it. So the bonus tip is there's a lot of credit card companies and other loans that will allow a promotional introductory rate. Many times they'll offer a 0% introductory rate for a year or more. If you can take advantage of those introductory rates and transfer all of your higher balances or higher interest rate balances to that 0% or that low interest rate, you're actually going to be able to pay off your debts much faster by having them on a 0 interest rate rather than trying to work against the interest that's compounding on those higher interest credit cards. Now, not everybody qualifies for a new loan, or not everybody can get a new credit card, so those promotional rates may or may not work for you. What do you do then? So what I would do if I were you is I would call your current credit cards and I would let them know that you're looking to transfer the entire balance to one of these new credit cards that's offering this promotion. Now, a lot of times the credit card companies will get nervous. They don't want to lose that balance. They don't want to lose the opportunity to earn some interest on the balance that you have with them. You might be able to negotiate a lower interest rate on the debt that you have. I actually negotiated many years ago with one of my credit card companies, and I got my interest rate down to about half of what it was. Although I did end up getting a credit card where I could transfer some money to it and get a very good promotional balance, one of the things that I did was negotiate a lower interest rate on the cards that I already had so that it was easier for me to pay them off so that I didn't have such a high interest rate that was working against me. So one of the key things to get out of debt is become aware of what debts you have. You can't put your head in the sand and hope that everything will be fine. You actually have to do the work to go out and gather up all of the information about the debts that you have. That's the first step in getting out of debt. So if you want to get out of debt today, go and get all of your credit card statements, get all of your loan balances, all your personal loans, all your car loans, all your mortgages, all your everything, and get it on a piece of paper in one place. Let me share with you a spreadsheet that I would highly recommend. This is just an example, and this is something that I would share with a client or do with a client if they were to contact me and they wanted me to help them figure out which debts to pay off first and to create a debt elimination program. So in this particular spreadsheet, you can see that I have listed the creditor, the interest rate, the minimum payment, the balance due, the cash flow index, which is something that I shared earlier, whether it's a secured or an unsecured debt. Now, a secured debt is something that you have collateral for. For example, a car loan. You have a car that's collateral for that debt. An unsecured debt is more like a personal loan, credit cards, student loans, something that there's really no collateral against that loan. So it's important to distinguish between a secured debt and an unsecured debt. And frankly, I would focus on the unsecured debts first, because more often than not, your unsecured debt is where those higher interest rates really are. So one of the things that I like about a spreadsheet is that it gives you a lot of flexibility to kind of figure things out, and you can really organize and filter things. So let's say that you wanted to filter this particular list of debts by the debt snowball method. The debt snowball method, once again, is taking the lowest debt first. So you'd click this and you'd sort it. So you'd know exactly that MasterCard one. So that's the debt you would do first if you were using the debt snowball. So let's take a look at the debt avalanche. So you'd come over here to interest rate, and then you would sort that from Z to A because you want the highest at the top. And it just so happens that the MasterCard one, either debt snowball or debt avalanche, it looks like that MasterCard is the one to start with. If you were to use the cash flow index, you'd come over here and you'd sort it from A to Z. And that would give you the personal loan as the first loan that you should pay off. Here's an example of why the cash flow index is actually more beneficial in this list of debts anyways than the other methods. As you can see, this personal loan at 12%, it's not the highest interest rate, nor is it the lowest balance, but it gives you the most cash flow back in your pocket if you paid it off first. So for example, if you paid the $1,400 first, that only gives you $25 back in your cash flow. But if you paid off this $5,000 first, that would give you $200 back in your cash flow. You could do a lot more damage to those debts with $200 than you can with $25. That's where the cash flow index is really powerful, because it gives you more money back in your budget to be able to put towards these other debts. The more money you have to put towards those debts, the better. And the cash flow index gives you an idea of which of those debts will give you the greatest cash flow back, so that you can then turn that cash flow and put it back into the rest of your debts or your other debts, and then pay them off even faster. So personally, I really like the debt snowball method to start, because it gives you a lot of motivation to get those smaller debts paid off more quickly. It gives you the opportunity to really feel like you've made some accomplishments, and it gives you that inspiration to keep going. Once you get to the medium or the higher level debts, it may make more sense for you to switch to the debt avalanche or the cash flow index method to be able to pay those other debts off more quickly. There's just something motivating about getting a few debts paid off really quickly, getting that behind you, and feeling like you've really done something. And now, as promised, I want to share with you the exact method that I chose to pay off over $127,000 in debt over 10 years ago. The method that I chose was debt negotiation. At the time, that was the most effective and efficient way for me to get out from underneath all of my debts. I did not want to declare bankruptcy, and so debt negotiation was the best way for me to go. Now, the first couple of accounts I negotiated myself, and it was hard work and it was a lot of stress. And I don't really recommend it unless you have strong negotiation skills. So I ended up finding a company called Debtmerica, and Debtmerica helped me negotiate over $56,000 of credit card debt and got me out of debt in 34 months. I was debt-free 34 months after I found Debtmerica, and I'm grateful that I found them and they helped me do that. That was one of the most trying times of my life, but when it was over, it was a glorious day. My credit score was extremely low when I was done, but because I had no more debt and nothing dragging me down, I was able to increase my credit score really quickly over the following years. And today I have an excellent credit rating. So debt negotiation is actually a really good method, but you have to know the pros and cons, and it has to be right for your situation. Not every debt can be negotiated, and it may or may not be right for you. If you have a lot of debt and you've tried a lot of methods to get out of debt and nothing seems to be working, maybe you need to have a coach, someone that can help you be accountable to this process. And if you don't have an accountability partner with your friends or relatives, send me a message at paris@financialselfreliance.com and I'll go through my coaching packages and programs and see if there's a fit for you. I would love to help you become debt-free. The journey to become debt-free isn't easy, but I promise it's worth it. There will come a day when you will be debt-free and you will look back and you'll be so proud of yourself, you'll be so excited, and you'll be able to move forward without all that baggage weighing you down. There's a lot of great things you can do when you don't have debt weighing you down. I hope you got a lot out of this video, and I hope you learned some of the most effective ways for you to become debt-free. I look forward to seeing you on the next video.